I'm a big picture type of person, and with digital accessibility, I see lots of webinars that get into the nitty-gritty or that are talking about the law, and I just want the basics, the practical. What do I need to do? So I'm going to go over those for you in ideally about 10 minutes. And I think if you follow these practices, if these kind of are your mindset, then you will be on the right track. Um, I think this really, yeah, will will get you 90% of the way there. So I am using these lists and ideas from Sherry Purpose's presentation and Virginia Tech's, so just wanted to give them credit. Tip number one, use headings. And I'm using Microsoft Word here, but what I'm telling you, other than perhaps the headings tip, can be used in many different formats, whether it's slides, headings can be, okay. Headings can be used in most of these formats, just not emails. But everything else I'm telling you can be used in emails and websites and slides, just a whole bunch of different areas. But I'm going to show them to you in Word. So for screen readers, you want to mark that this is a title. And to do that, you go to Style Titles. Um, and here you'd mark that this is a heading. And that just helps the screen reader know why it's not a complete sentence and read them in the correct order. Here you'd mark that this is a subheading. And most screen readers only go to about heading number 6. So if you go too far, then it won't show up. So just, yeah, try to keep it 6 or less headings. If you don't like this font, you're welcome to change it to a different one, change the color, whatever, but just marking it so that the screen reader knows it's a heading. That's what you're doing, but you're welcome to change the font and the color. Although the font that I chose is probably not the most accessible. So here you can see for the text, I have 3 different types. The first one is a sans serif font. So that means sans, not. It doesn't have the serifs. It doesn't have those flourishes and little extras that something like Times New Roman here does. So Times New Roman is not the most accessible. Arial, um, Calibri, Verdana, a lot of those have those clean lines that are the most accessible. I will say, just so I'm not considered a hypocrite here, I use a lot of Georgia. I love Georgia, and it is a serif font. Um, but I think it's one of the more accessible serif fonts. It's still got some of those bigger, cleaner lines. So be aware of that as you choose fonts. And something like brush script is probably going to be really hard for a screen reader to read. So keep that in mind as you're choosing fonts. That ideally and use the sans serif fonts as much as possible. Okay, next tip. When you have an image, you need to describe the image using alternative text. Often you can right click and say edit alternative text. Also in Microsoft Word, if I go to picture format right here, it says alt text and I can find it there. Now this generated this alt text for me, white cake with sprinkles and candle. You can, I know people like to use AI to generate alt text for them. So there's places out there. I usually find it easy and just fast to just type my own. So whatever works best for you. Doesn't have to be long and complicated and detailed. Well, I've heard different things about that, but the most authoritative that I've heard is keep it concise. And also go from general to specific. So again, I didn't come up with this, but I think it's great. White cake, that tells you what the picture is, right? And that's the general. And then it goes into a little bit more detail with sprinkles and candle. Now, where you would want to go into detail is if it's meaningful to the text. So white cake with sprinkles and candle works great if this picture is going along with a story about a kid having a birthday, right? But if the text is instead about the differences between various cakes, and you're comparing this cake to a Smith Island cake with a million different layers, then you might want to go into more detail in your alternative text. So just use some common sense. What does the person need to know to understand what's happening? And there's this box here, mark as decorative. I think in a PDF, it's like mark as artifact. So you might see that terminology. But you're welcome to use that as well if you feel like the picture or the image has no bearing on the text and um yeah. Um so feel free to mark it as decorative if it's not meaningful. If you have text in the image like I do here, you want to put that text in. Um, so it's ideal to not have too much text in an image, which is why I'm hiding my own text because I didn't do that correctly here. But we're going to move on to another tip, which is watch your contrast and colors. So think about the background and the text on that background and if it's easy to read. Um, Obviously, white background with black text or black background with white text are ideal, but you can also um, use many other options. And this list is not the only possibilities out there. Red and green are often colors that people who are colorblind can't see or distinguish between, so those might be worse colors. There's a color contrast checker out there called WebAIM, and there might be others too. This is free, just Google it. And you can change the colors and get the ones you want. You can see this is great, blue on white right down here. Um, and if I change the background, this is not so great. It says fail. You might want to double check me on this, but WCAG AA is the second level with just one A, that's the minimum standard, and then AAA is the best. So I think for the minimum standard, it needs to be a contrast of about 3.0, around there. So it's marking it as fail here, but I think it would technically be okay to have a 3.2. When you are using color, be careful if you're using color to show meaning. Now, that's great if you do, but also find another way of showing meaning. So right here, I use red to show that this is a bad link and green to show that this is a good link. But it's not the only thing I use to show meaning. I also use a check mark. I use a shape to show that this is good, and I use an X to show that this is bad. I could also write it out. I could say wrong in red letters and good in green letters. And that would just be another way that I'm showing meaning that one's good, one's bad. Moving on to links. A screen reader reading this whole long link would get really boring really fast. So it's helpful to give the link a title. And to do that, you just click Edit hyperlink, and it will give you two boxes, one for your title and one for the URL. And so you put in there the title that you want. That covers most of what I wanted to talk about. Here's just Virginia Tech's list of what to focus on. It says use accessibility checkers to check your work, simplify your slides, describe your images, which we talked about, use meaningful links. We talked about that. Another thing with links is don't, if you have a list of links, don't name them all the same thing. Digital accessibility presentation, digital accessibility presentation. At the very least, say digital accessibility presentation 1, digital accessibility presentation 2. So like make the names helpful if people are reading through them. Use headings, caption on, simplify or summarize PDFs, and check contrast. Captioning, often your YouTube videos, your Canvas videos will auto-generate captions. Just use them. Easy enough, right? Just make sure that you mark that. If your video doesn't have audio or it's just music in the background, then say that in brackets with the captions, say no audio or music only, just so that the person watching the video knows they're not missing something. And then PDFs are a whole nother video. I'm not even going to get into it, but generally, if you followed the steps that we talked about in this video and then you turn it into a PDF, you're on the right track. It's more if it's already a PDF and you're trying to change it then it gets complicated. And I haven't studied slides too much, so maybe you want to do your own research there, or I can give you more resources. But here are some tips that I've heard. So your standard font size is 24 points or bigger, and line spacing should be a minimum of 1.5. And make sure you have titles for your slides. If you don't want the title visible, that's fine, but still just have it around. It could be dragged off to the side or under a picture or something, but just have it to differentiate between the slides. And you don't want the same titles for every slide. I wouldn't say digital accessibility for every slide on my presentation. I'd say headers for one slide and color contrast for another slide, right? Please let me or anyone on the accessibility work group or Todd in the library know if you have any questions, and we'll be happy to point you toward more resources.